Welcome to today's Transformation Dive, where we unlock the hidden levers behind your financial and personal growth. What if your bank account feels less like a statement and more like a judgment? Like it's grading your life, your worth, your future? You're definitely not alone. Millions feel that quiet dread just before tapping that little square icon on their phone. We're diving deep into why that happens, what it really means, and how to shift from dread to power. This isn't about complex charts or get-rich-quick schemes. This is about building a foundation that lasts, a relationship with your money that actually serves you. We're stripping back the layers to reveal the core truths that can change everything. If you're into real, actionable money and mindset content that cuts through the noise and helps you build an earn flow zone in your own life, hit like and subscribe. It helps way more than you think, and make sure you don't miss the next crucial step. And before we jump in, drop a comment with where you're watching from or your biggest money habit win, no matter how small. Let's celebrate those wins. Let's dive in and change the way you think about success. You know the feeling. It's a Sunday evening, maybe, the quiet ending to a weekend, or a sneaky moment snatch during a slow afternoon at work. Your thumb hovers over the banking app icon on your phone. Your stomach tightens a little, maybe a lot. It's like standing on the edge of a cold pool you really don't want to jump into. You don't want to open it. You really don't want to see the number, the balance, the recent transactions that flash before your eyes like a highlight reel of questionable decisions. Why? Because that number feels like a grade on your life. It feels like judgment. It feels like it confirms all your fears. You're not doing enough. You're not earning enough. You're somehow failing at this fundamental adult thing called money. It's like everyone else got the user manual, but yours got lost in the mail. You see others who seem to just have it together. They talk about investments like it's ordering pizza, or saving effortlessly for a down payment, or planning exotic vacations you can't even fathom right now. Meanwhile, you're doing mental gymnastics, trying to figure out if you can afford groceries and that small, necessary thing that just broke. Like your ancient washing machine or that wobbly kitchen chair. Or maybe the numbers game seems different for you now. You're earning well, better than you ever imagined, climbing the ladder, seeing bigger deposit numbers. But somehow, the money still disappears. You're still stressed. The number in the bank is higher, sure, but the feeling, the low-level hum of anxiety, that hasn't gone away. It's like getting a faster car, but still feeling lost because you don't know how to read the map. This feeling, this pervasive dread, is the most powerful myth in action. The biggest myth about money isn't that it's the root of all evil, or that you need to be born rich to succeed. The most insidious myth, the one that keeps so many people stuck in that anxiety loop, is that your financial situation is only about the numbers. How much comes in, how much goes out. That if you just earn more or cut enough lattes and avocado toasts, everything will magically fall into place and the dread will vanish. And while numbers are absolutely important, you can't ignore the math, just like you can't ignore your car's fuel gauge. They are only a symptom. They are the reflection of something much deeper. What if I told you the true foundational driver of your financial reality isn't just the arithmetic, but your relationship with money? The last time you felt that pang of fear or dread looking at a bill or your bank balance, it wasn't just about the dollar amount staring back at you. That moment of stress wasn't purely mathematical. It was about the underlying, often unconscious, relationship you have built with money over your lifetime. It's a surprising insight, isn't it? That your stress isn't primarily about the digits, but about the history, the beliefs, the emotions tied to those digits. Think about it like your relationships with people, friends, family, partners. These relationships are complex. They're built on history, on communication patterns or lack thereof, on trust, sometimes on old hurts, sometimes on avoidance. They influence your mood, your decisions, your future actions profoundly. Your relationship with money is exactly the same. Just less obvious because money isn't a person you can talk to directly. It's a complex, often unconscious dynamic shaped by your past experiences. Maybe seeing your parents struggle, maybe getting conflicting messages about wealth, maybe experiencing a sudden financial setback. It's shaped by your core beliefs about yourself and the world, your emotions around security, scarcity, abundance, and power, and your ingrained habits, both good and bad. This invisible relationship dictates how you feel when you open that app. Whether you see a bill as a disaster or a solvable problem, whether you invest with optimism or hoard with fear, whether you feel empowered or helpless. Until you address this relationship, the beliefs you hold, the emotions you feel, the habits you unconsciously follow, the numbers game will always feel like a struggle, a constant uphill battle, no matter how much you earn. It's like trying to build a strong house on shaky ground. To start building a solid financial future, the first step is acknowledging this relationship. Try this. Recall the last strong negative emotion you felt related to money. Like that dread or fear. Jot down one word describing it. Just one word. For example, fear, shame, anger. This simple action is the first step to understanding the emotional core of your money relationship. Okay, so we've set the stage for transformation. Now, let's get really specific and talk about something deeply personal. Something that dictates more of your financial life than you might realize. Your money relationship. This isn't some woo-woo abstract concept. Think of it as the sum total of your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors around earning, spending, saving, investing, and yes, even just thinking about money. Is money like your best friend, someone you trust implicitly, working together towards shared goals? Or is it more like a toxic partnership, full of distrust, conflict, and maybe a little emotional blackmail every payday? Perhaps, for many people, it's a distant, awkward acquaintance you actively avoid making eye contact with at the grocery store checkout, or when the bills pile up. This relationship isn't just theoretical. It's the operating system for your financial life. It dictates whether you see a layoff as a catastrophic, world-ending event that sends you spiraling, or a difficult, painful pivot point that forces you to find a new path. It determines if a sudden windfall, maybe a bonus, an inheritance, or even just finding $20 in an old jacket, leads to thoughtful growth and smart moves, or rapid dissipation like water through a sieve. It shapes your daily habits, often on autopilot. The impulse buys that feel good for a second, but drain your account. The automatic transfers that build your savings silently. The willingness or unwillingness to negotiate a salary raise you deserve. The courage or fear to start that side hustle you've been dreaming about. This is why you see two people with identical incomes living vastly different financial lives. One might be stressing paycheck to paycheck, while the other is building a safety net and investing. Not because one earns more, but because their relationships with money are fundamentally different. Here's a classic scenario. You see a friend casually talking about hitting their savings goal for a down payment, or excitedly sharing about a recent investment that's doing well. You might feel a complicated mix of admiration, inadequacy, and maybe, if you're being honest, a little sting of resentment. This is where the surprising insight comes in. Your reaction isn't just about their success. It's a powerful reflection of your own internal script and, crucially, your relationship with money. If your money relationship is built on scarcity and comparison, seeing others thrive feels like a personal threat. If it's built on possibility and learning, you might feel inspired. Understanding this cause and effect is key. So here's your first major action step from this section, and trust me, this one habit changed everything for me when I finally did it honestly. Ask yourself right now, or take some time later today, if money were a person, how would you describe your current relationship with them? Is it abusive, neglectful, distant, harmonious? Be brutally, uncomfortably honest. Write it down if you can. This clarity is the first step towards changing that relationship for the better. Okay, so we've looked at what you're doing with money right now. Maybe pinpointed a habit or two you want to tweak. But the deeper question, the one that really starts to unlock change, is why? Why do you feel this way about money? Why are these particular habits so ingrained? This is where we confront a surprising truth. Your relationship with money wasn't formed in a vacuum. It's not some innate personality trait you were born with, like a preference for coffee or a dislike of pineapple on pizza. No, your money story is largely a product of your earliest environment, a script written by the people and experiences that surrounded you as you grew up. Think back, if you can, to your childhood home. What was the background music playing when it came to money? Was it a constant hum of anxiety, hushed whispers, or maybe loud, stressful arguments? Was money something openly discussed? Or was it a taboo topic, shrouded in secrecy, like some kind of family curse? Consider the messages you absorbed, consciously and unconsciously. Was money presented as something dirty, evil, or something magical that just sort of appeared or didn't? Were you taught practical skills like saving, budgeting, or delayed gratification? Or was the dominant message simply, "We can't afford that," shutting down any further conversation? These early observations, casual remarks you overheard, and direct lessons, or the stark lack thereof, laid the incredibly deep, often invisible, foundation for your unconscious beliefs about money. It's like learning to walk on ground that was already molded into hills and valleys. Your path was influenced before you even took your first financial step. Your parents' own, often complicated relationship with money was a huge factor. If they constantly worried, you likely learned to associate money with stress. If they were spenders, you might have picked up habits of instant gratification. Beyond the home, societal messages about wealth and poverty, the ways money and success were portrayed in movies, TV shows, and even fairy tales, they all left their mark. These beliefs, whether they were stated outright or just subtly demonstrated, things like money is hard to earn, saving is pointless, rich people are greedy, or the insidious "you need money to be happy," became the silent, unquestioned rules governing your relationship with your own finances. You might be operating today, making daily financial decisions, living by a rulebook you didn't even know you had, handed down like an unwanted heirloom you keep tripping over. For example, you might automatically feel a pang of guilt buying something non-essential, even if your bank balance can easily handle it, simply because you grew up hearing money was always scarce and luxuries were frivolous. It's this kind of hidden programming that often holds people back. The surprising insight here is truly how little of your core money belief system is actually original to you. Most of it is inherited, absorbed, and internalized from your past, often before you had the cognitive ability to question it. It's like defaulting to a specific currency or economic system just because that's where you were born. So, here's your first step towards writing your own money story. Identify one belief about money you specifically remember hearing frequently when you were younger. Maybe it was a phrase, an attitude, or a common complaint. Now ask yourself, does that belief still influence your decisions, your feelings, or your actions around money today? Simply recognizing it is the first crucial step towards changing it. The scarcity stranglehold. Okay, so we've touched on different financial relationships, the invisible forces shaping how we interact with money. Now, let's talk about one of the most common and arguably the most damaging relationship patterns out there, the scarcity stranglehold. Imagine money isn't just a tool, but this giant, finite pie, and you're convinced there are only tiny crumbs left, and everyone else is trying to snatch them away. That's the core of scarcity thinking. It's not simply about how much money you have in your account right now. It's a deep, gnawing belief that there isn't enough, and worse, there never will be. It's a constant state of perceived lack. This mindset manifests as pervasive fear. You're terrified of losing what little you possess, paralyzed by the prospect of not getting more, and sometimes begrudging towards others who seem to have an abundance. This fear doesn't make you careful, it makes you rigid and fearful. It drives irrational behavior. People gripped by scarcity might hoard every penny, unable to spend on crucial things like health, education, or even basic self-care, even when they technically can afford it. The thought of parting with any money, regardless of the return or necessity, is unbearable. Conversely, this feeling of deprivation can also trigger impulsive, often regrettable spending sprees, a desperate, fleeting attempt to fill the emotional void left by perceived lack. Neither extreme leads to financial health. Think about it. You might desperately need a new pair of comfortable, durable shoes for a job that requires you to be on your feet all day. From a place of scarcity, you spend hours, maybe even days, agonizing over the absolute cheapest option you can find, even if that means buying a flimsy pair that will fall apart in 2 months, costing you more in the long run. The fear of spending the extra $30 on a slightly better pair, even if it lasts 5 times as long, feels like an insurmountable hurdle because that $30 represents a chunk of your too little pie. Or you might have a small amount you could potentially invest in learning a new skill or starting a side hustle, but the terror of losing what little you have completely shuts down any possibility of growth. It's like being so afraid of stubbing your toe that you refuse to walk at all. And here's the surprising insight, the myth bust about scarcity. This mindset isn't a consequence of being broke or having little money. It's often the cause of staying stuck with little or preventing substantial growth even when income increases. Scarcity thinking actively chokes off opportunities because it keeps your focus fixed on what's missing and the potential for loss, rather than what's possible and the potential for gain. It blinds you to the abundance of resources, knowledge, and opportunities available. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You act from a place of lack, which limits your actions, which reinforces your lack. Breaking free from this stranglehold is crucial. It starts with awareness. Notice one decision you recently made, big or small, that felt driven primarily by a fear of not having enough, a feeling of lack. Maybe it was delaying a necessary purchase, missing an opportunity because the perceived risk felt too high, or reacting with anxiety to someone else's success. How might you have approached that situation differently if you had genuinely believed in the possibility of more? If you had focused on the potential gain or the long-term value, rather than the immediate loss? Ask yourself, what's stopping me from seeing possibility instead of just peril? This one habit of simply noticing the scarcity trigger can begin to change everything. Okay, so you're on this journey, learning to manage your money, build wealth, and live more intentionally. But there's a deeper level to unlock, a fundamental shift that changes everything. It's about your relationship with money. Is money calling the shots in your life, or are you? Is it your master, or merely a tool in your hands? This isn't just semantics. It's the core difference between a life dictated by your bank balance and a life intentionally built using money as an ally. For so many people, money feels like a cruel master. It dictates stress levels, limits possibilities, and often forces decisions driven by scarcity or the pressure to keep up appearances. You feel trapped by bills, chained to a job you dislike just for the paycheck, or constantly chasing the next dollar just to feel secure. It's like being a hamster on a financial wheel, running incredibly hard, generating a lot of activity, but not actually getting anywhere you truly want to go. This perspective leaves you feeling powerless, a passive recipient of whatever financial circumstances life throws your way. Earning more just means bigger bills or fancier things you don't truly value, continuing the cycle. Now, imagine flipping that script entirely. What if money wasn't this demanding overlord or an elusive goal, but simply a tool? Like a hammer, a paintbrush, or even a powerful software program. It's inherently neutral. Its power lies entirely in the hands of the person wielding it. When money is a tool, you become the craftsman of your life. You pick up the tool with intention. Look at what you want to build or create, and use money to facilitate that vision. Money as a tool is about leveraging it for purpose. It's using it to build security, providing a buffer against the unexpected so you can sleep at night. It's using it to buy freedom, the ability to choose how you spend your time, where you live, who you work with. It funds experiences that create rich memories, not just possessions that gather dust. It enables you to help others, making a positive impact far beyond your own needs. It's about directing your financial resources towards building the actual life you deeply value. Brick by intentional brick. You are the one directing where the money flows, not the other way around. It's moving from being a passenger tossed about by financial currents to being the captain steering the ship towards your desired destination. Consider this scenario, your example. You receive a bonus from work. If money is your master, you might immediately think about that new gadget you saw, the fancy dinner you deserve, or upgrading your car to match your neighbor's. Money as status. The master whispering, you need this to be seen. But if money is your tool, you pause and think, how can I use this to build the life I want? You might allocate it to pay down high-interest debt, freeing up future cash flow, tool for freedom. You could invest it to grow your wealth for a future goal like early retirement or funding a child's education, tool for long-term security and options. Or perhaps you save a portion to finally start that passion project or take a sabbatical, tool for personal growth, or time. The same amount of money arrives, but the perspective completely changes its outcome and its power in your life. And here's the truly surprising insight, the one that challenges the core of how society often views wealth. The true value of money isn't in its mere accumulation. It's not about having the biggest number in your bank account or the most assets just for the sake of it. The real, profound value is found in what you consciously, intentionally choose to do with it, how you wield that tool, and the quality of the life it helps you build. A life of security, freedom, purpose, and joy. Money itself is neutral. Your relationship with it and the purpose you assign it are what give it meaning and power in your world. This isn't just a nice idea. It has real-world cause and effect. When you shift from money as master to money as tool, your financial behaviors change fundamentally. You stop spending mindlessly to impress or distract. You start budgeting not as a form of restriction, but as a roadmap for directing your resources. You save and invest not out of fear, but with a clear purpose. You earn more, not for status, but to increase your capacity to build the life you desire. The cause is this powerful mindset shift. The effect is intentional, deliberate, and empowering action that builds true holistic wealth. Wealth of time, experiences, security, and options, not just dollars. This is the decision point. Are you ready to consciously pick up the tool, to declare your intention for how money will serve you? It's time to make this perspective concrete. Complete this sentence and really feel the power of it. I want money to be a tool for this in my life. All right, let's talk about a financial fantasy that trips up so many people, myself included, for a long time. We arrive at section 6, where we confront the illusion of more. You know the thought pattern, right? It goes something like this. If I just earned an extra $500 a month, or $10,000 a year, or if I could just hit that six-figure mark, then all my money problems would vanish into thin air. I'd finally be secure, finally be happy, finally. Enough. It's the classic chase, pushing for that promotion, applying for the higher-paying job, maybe even secretly hoping for a lottery win or a wealthy distant relative to remember you in their will. And let's be clear, earning more income is often a good thing. Sometimes even essential for lifting yourself out of difficulty or accelerating your goals. But here's where the illusion kicks in. For so many people, that increase in income doesn't build security. It merely fuels lifestyle inflation. The extra money comes in, and almost immediately, the new normal spending rises to meet it. The underlying stress? It doesn't disappear. It just operates on a bigger playing field. Why does this happen? Because our relationship with money is often tangled up in seeking external validation, trying to keep up with appearances, or chasing temporary pleasure through spending, rather than consciously building internal security and strategic financial alignment. Think about it. You see it everywhere. The beginner struggling paycheck to paycheck finally gets that small raise they desperately needed, only to find within weeks that the extra money seems to have evaporated on little things that brought minimal lasting value. Where did it go? Poof, like trying to catch smoke. The mid-earner lands a significant promotion, and their first thought isn't necessarily strategic investment. It's often, great, now we can finally upgrade the car, or let's move to a bigger house, taking on more debt, not less. Even the ambitious builder, scaling their income to new heights, might unconsciously inflate their burn rate. the amount they spend just to maintain their lifestyle, instead of using that increased flow to dramatically accelerate their investments or build true wealth-generating assets. The problem isn't the income itself, it's the unconscious pattern, the default setting that allows external circumstances, like getting a raise, to dictate spending habits rooted in old, unexamined beliefs or those persistent desires for external validation. It's not a conscious financial strategy, it's a reaction. Here's the surprising insight, and it might feel counterintuitive. Earning more money in and of itself won't fix a broken money relationship or unconscious spending patterns. In fact, it often just magnifies the existing problems. If you have a habit of letting money slip through your fingers when you have little, you'll likely find ways to let even more money slip through your fingers when you have more. The hole in the bucket doesn't get smaller. The flow just increases, but the water level still doesn't rise as much as it should. This one realization changed everything for me. I stopped solely focusing on income hacks and started looking inward at why I spent the way I did. So, let's make this real right now. Your action. Imagine, just for a moment, that you received an extra $500 today. Maybe it's a bonus, an unexpected refund, or a side hustle payment. What's the very first thing you'd be tempted to do with it? Be honest with yourself. Now ask yourself, does that immediate temptation align with your true long-term goals and values, like building security, investing in your future, or supporting something meaningful? Or is it rooted in an old spending pattern designed for temporary comfort, external appearance, or simply avoiding thinking strategically? Try holding on to that feeling, that insight, as we move forward. Because understanding the illusion of more is the first step to making more actually matter. Okay, let's talk about a step that feels like pulling teeth for so many people on their money journey. It's the moment you stand face to face with the raw truth of your financial situation. We're calling this facing your financial mirror. You see, changing your relationship with money isn't some abstract concept you can achieve through wishful thinking or positive affirmations alone. Though those help, it fundamentally requires radical honesty. You absolutely have to look yourself and your numbers directly in the eye. And you have to do it without the crippling weight of judgment. This is precisely where that infamous dread of opening the banking app or logging into the credit card website comes from, right? You feel it in your gut, that little flutter of anxiety. It's because you're actively avoiding seeing the reality of where your money actually goes. You're telling yourself a story about your finances, and often that story is much scarier than the truth. Think of it like any relationship in your life. You cannot change a connection you refuse to understand. If you never talk honestly with a friend or partner about issues, the relationship will just flounder or worsen. Your money relationship is no different. Getting clear on where your money actually flows each month is like finally sitting down for that honest, sometimes uncomfortable conversation with your finances. It might feel awkward, maybe even painful for a moment, but it is unequivocally the only way to build a foundation of trust and start making conscious, deliberate choices about your spending and saving. Let's be crystal clear. This process isn't about shame. It's about cultivating profound awareness. Tracking your spending for a short period, even just a week or a month, isn't a punishment for past mistakes. It's simply gathering crucial data points. It's like a scientist collecting observations before forming a hypothesis. Reviewing your bank statements isn't about confirming you're a failure. It's about understanding your current reality, right here, right now. This step is massively empowering. It takes the vague, shadowy fear of the financial unknown, that anxious knot in your stomach, and replaces it with concrete, verifiable information you can actually understand and act upon. It is the absolutely fundamental, non-negotiable first step in taking control and building a relationship with your money based on transparency and truth. Your example is the perfect illustration. You have a hazy idea of what you spend monthly. Maybe you think rent plus groceries plus Netflix is roughly X, but you actively recoil from tallying it up precisely. You use vague numbers, tell yourself it's probably fine, or worse, just avoid looking entirely. And here's the truly surprising insight, the one that often breaks this cycle for people. Often, the reality of your spending isn't nearly as bad or catastrophic as the fearful worst-case scenario story you've been telling yourself in your head. Your mind loves to catastrophize. The numbers just state facts. So here is your immediate action, your prompt for stepping into this awareness. Schedule just 15 minutes, sometime in the next 3 days. Put it on your calendar like an important meeting. During that time, log into your primary bank account and your main credit card account. Your only job is to simply look at the transactions from the last week or the last month. That's it. No budgeting, no judging, no panicking. Just pure observation. See where the money went. Notice the patterns. This one habit, this simple act of facing the mirror, changed everything for me because it replaced crippling anxiety with actionable data. Try this for a week, just looking, and see what shifts. Okay, let's build out Section 8. Transition from previous section. So, you understand that your relationship with money is key, and maybe it's felt a bit complicated. Like trying to reason with a toddler who just found a permanent marker. But changing that relationship, especially one that's been developing for years, doesn't happen with one big dramatic gesture. It starts with small, consistent actions. Think of it less like a financial divorce and more like couples therapy for you and your money. When it comes to your finances, this means introducing conscious choices that reinforce a new dynamic, one step at a time. Instead of that knee-jerk, impulsive spending driven by the emotion of the moment, maybe boredom, stress, or that weird urge when a sale email pops up, you introduce a pause, a moment of intentional friction. Instead of feeling that familiar dread and completely avoiding your finances, pretending the bills don't exist like they're a difficult relative at Thanksgiving. You schedule regular, even tiny, check-ins. You build familiarity, not avoidance. Instead of feeling completely powerless over your situation, you take one small, manageable step that gives you a sense of agency, a feeling of, hey, I actually can steer this ship a little. This approach isn't about some radical budget makeover that leaves you eating ramen for 6 months straight, or chasing overnight millionaire schemes that feel about as likely as finding a pot of gold at the end of your street. It's about building new habits, tiny repeatable actions that signal to yourself, deep down, and yes, even to money itself, bear with me on the metaphor here, that this relationship is changing. It's about building trust and competence, brick by small brick. It could be something as simple as tracking every single purchase for just a week, not to judge yourself, but just to see where it's actually going. It could be setting up a tiny automatic transfer, like $5 or $10, from your checking to savings every payday. So small you barely notice it, but it builds momentum. It could be unsubscribing from those relentless retail emails that whisper sweet temptations directly into your inbox. Or maybe it's just deciding to pause for 60 seconds, literally a single minute, before making any non-essential purchase online or in store. That minute is often enough to break the impulse spell. Let's take the example of automatically adding items to your online cart. Many of us do this without thinking. It's designed to be easy. The small action here is to pause before you hit that checkout button. Take a breath, review each item in the cart, and ask yourself a simple, powerful question. Do I truly need this right now? And does this purchase genuinely serve my financial goals? It sounds basic, but that one pause, that one question, can interrupt a lifetime of impulsive habits. Now here's the surprising insight, the one that often gets missed because we're programmed to look for the dramatic fix. Tiny, consistent habits, like that 60-second pause, that small auto transfer, that daily tracking, have a far greater, more sustainable impact on your long-term financial health and mindset than occasional, drastic, all-or-nothing measures. Why? Because they build resilience, they create new neural pathways, and they feel achievable, leading to consistency, which is the real superpower. So here is your action step, something concrete you can do right now. For the next 3 days, track every single dollar you spend. Every coffee, every grocery item, every subscription renewal, every impulse buy. Don't use fancy software or complicated spreadsheets if that feels overwhelming. Just use a simple notes app on your phone or a small notebook. The key is not to judge yourself or the spending. Just track. Become the neutral observer of your own money flow. It's the first step in building awareness, and awareness is the bedrock of change. Do this, and you've already started shifting the dynamic. Building trust and respect. What does a healthy money relationship actually look like? It's not about perfection. It's about connection. Think of it like any vital relationship in your life. It thrives on trust, respect, and clear communication. When you cultivate this with your money, everything shifts. You start to trust yourself to manage your money responsibly, making decisions that align with your values and goals, not just reacting out of fear or impulse. You develop a genuine respect for money, acknowledging its power to create security, opportunity, and freedom, while also understanding its limitations, that it's a tool, not the sole measure of your worth. Communication with your money isn't some spiritual mumbo-jumbo. It's practical. It's about truly understanding where your money comes from, acknowledging the work and energy you exchange for it, and crucially, knowing exactly where it goes. This involves tracking, budgeting, and consciously directing its flow. It's like having an honest conversation with your partner about your joint finances, but this time, you are both partners and the money itself is the subject. This profound shift requires you to actively challenge those deeply ingrained, often negative, beliefs you hold about money. You know the ones. They pop up automatically. When you hear that familiar scarcity voice whispering, "Ugh, I can't afford that," or "money is so hard to get," you have to consciously challenge those deeply ingrained beliefs you hold about money. You know the ones. They pop up automatically when you hear that familiar scarcity voice whispering, "Ugh, I can't afford that." Actively counter it with truth. Maybe the truth is, I am choosing not to prioritize that purchase right now because I am building long-term security, or money flows to me in many ways and I am open to receiving it. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about replacing a limiting story with an empowering reality. This isn't just mental gymnastics. It's about actively rewiring your emotional response. It's about associating money with positive feelings and powerful outcomes, not just stress and obligation. Instead of feeling like saving is deprivation, like you're missing out on something fun right now, you reframe it as saving is freedom. Saving isn't taking away from your life, it's adding future choices. Instead of seeing investing as scary and risky, you deliberately think of investing as growth, planting seeds that will multiply over time. This intentional reframing, consistently practiced and combined with positive financial actions, literally changes the pathways in your brain. Your emotional thermostat around money begins to regulate itself differently. It's genuinely like choosing to focus on your partner's strengths and appreciating what they bring to the relationship, instead of constantly picking apart their flaws. It completely transforms the dynamic, making the relationship stronger and more rewarding. Here's a surprising insight for you. While it feels like our feelings about money are just passive reactions to our circumstances, you can actively cultivate positive feelings and powerful associations with money through conscious thought, deliberate language, and consistent action. It's not magic, it's mental training. When you change the internal dialogue and emotions connected to money, the external actions and results often follow. This one realization changed everything for me. Here is something simple you can try this week. Identify just one negative thought or feeling you frequently have about money. Maybe it's dread about paying bills, fear about not having enough, or resentment towards saving. Now, create a positive, truthful counterstatement for it. For example, if you feel dread when payday hits because bills are due, the example we mentioned earlier, your counterstatement could be, I feel gratitude for this income and the ability to manage my responsibilities. For the next week, every single time that negative thought or feeling arises, pause, acknowledge it without judgment, and then immediately say your positive, truthful counterstatement to yourself, either out loud or in your head. Pay attention to how it feels to interrupt the negative pattern. Section 10. Consistency compounding. Okay, let's talk about arguably the most underrated superpower in the financial universe: consistency. You know, people often chase the big wins, the massive investment return, the huge bonus, the sudden windfall. They think those intense, dramatic actions are what build wealth. But here's a truth bomb for you. Just like any healthy relationship in your life, the strength and peace you find with money don't come from occasional grand gestures. They come from consistency. Think about it. A single epic date doesn't make a marriage strong, right? It's the daily check-ins, the shared habits, the consistent effort. The same principle applies directly to your finances. Dramatic one-off financial actions, they might provide a temporary boost, but they fade. What truly builds an unbreakable, peaceful bond with your money are the daily, weekly, and monthly habits you consistently apply. This isn't about being perfect, it's about showing up. It means consistently tracking your spending, even if loosely, just to stay aware. It means consistently saving, even if it's just a small amount you barely notice. It means consistently reviewing your financial goals, keeping them top of mind. And it absolutely means consistently educating yourself, learning one new thing about money at a time. These steps, let's be honest, they're not exactly material for a blockbuster movie trailer. They're the quiet, behind-the-scenes work. But they are, without a doubt, the absolute bedrock of long-term financial health and cultivating that peaceful, empowering relationship with your money we keep talking about. It's like exercise for your finances. Running a single marathon is incredibly impressive, yes, but it doesn't guarantee lasting fitness. It's the daily walks, the consistent strength training, the regular movement. That's what builds enduring physical health. Similarly, checking your bank balance consistently, if it brings you peace, not anxiety, reviewing your budget weekly for just 15 minutes, setting up automatic savings transfers. These consistent touchpoints reinforce your new, positive relationship with money and create truly compounding results, not just in your bank account balance, but fundamentally in your mindset and confidence. Here's where we hit a surprising insight, something most people miss. The act of consistent, small financial discipline is infinitely more powerful for building a healthy relationship with money than occasionally hitting a large financial goal. A big win feels great temporarily, but consistent action builds trust, discipline, and confidence over time. It proves to you that you are reliable with money, even in small ways. It builds the habit muscle. Let me give you a concrete example from my own journey and what I see work for others. Setting up an automatic transfer of just $25 from your checking account to a separate savings or investment account every single payday. That feels almost insultingly small to some people, right? Like, what's $25 going to do? Well, without you even thinking about it, over a year, that's $650 saved. It's the kind of money you might otherwise spend on impulse purchases without a second thought. But it's not just the $650. It's the consistent declaration to yourself, twice a month or every week, that you are prioritizing your financial future, even in a tiny way. It's the habit forming. It's the consistency compounding its power in your subconscious mind. Here's your core concept and your action prompt wrapped into one. Your relationship with money thrives on consistency, not intensity. Stop waiting for the big win to feel powerful. Start being powerful with the small, consistent actions. Try this for a week. No, try this permanently. Set up one small automatic transfer from your primary checking account to a dedicated savings or investment account. Schedule it to happen the day after you typically get paid. Start with an amount that feels almost too small to matter. Maybe it's $10, maybe it's $50. The goal isn't the amount initially. It's the consistency and building the habit. This one small habit changed everything for me because it automated discipline and proved that consistency is the real key. Ask yourself, what small automatic transfer could you set up right now? Now that you've been implementing new habits, building budgets that actually work, tackling debt with a plan, and even investing for your future, something profound starts to happen. You're not just changing your financial situation, you're changing your financial identity. Think of it like training for a marathon. Initially, you're just someone who wants to run. But as you train consistently, you become a runner. This isn't just semantics. It's a fundamental shift in how you see yourself in relation to that activity. The same goes for your money. You move from feeling controlled by money, constantly worrying, reacting to bills, dreading checking your bank account, to becoming someone who controls it. You become the director of your financial life, not just an audience member watching it unfold with anxiety. You transition from someone who fears the numbers, maybe even avoids looking at them altogether. We've all been there, right? Like hiding from the dentist, but for your wallet. To someone who understands and directs those numbers with confidence. This journey is incredibly empowering. It's about building a relationship with money based on respect, intentionality, and mutual support. Money isn't the big scary monster under the bed. It's a tool, an ally, that when understood and managed, serves your deepest values and goals. It helps you build the life you want. But let's be real. Building any strong relationship takes time and effort. There will inevitably be slip-ups. You might overspend on impulse, miss a bill deadline, or get hit with an unexpected expense that throws your plan off course. Old fears might try to sneak back in, whispering doubts. Market downturns or unforeseen life events will test this newfound partnership you have with your finances. But just like any strong relationship, these challenges don't have to break it. They can make it stronger if you face them together, you and your money, as a team. When you view it this way, a financial mistake isn't a reason to beat yourself up and hide. Instead, you analyze it factually, without judgment, like reviewing game footage to see where the fumble happened. You figure out why it happened and how to prevent it next time, treating it strictly as a learning experience. This one habit, shifting from shame to objective analysis, can change everything about how quickly you bounce back and improve. The surprising insight here is that building this healthy money relationship is actually less about achieving perfect execution from day one and more about consistent self-awareness, learning from the inevitable bumps in the road, and choosing intentional action over fear or avoidance. It's the willingness to show up, learn, and adjust that builds resilience and true financial mastery. The goal isn't financial perfection, which, spoiler alert, doesn't exist. It's consistent progress and a fundamental, empowering shift in how you interact with a force that touches literally every part of your life. So, here's your action step. Take a moment to visualize your future financial self. Who is this person who has a healthy, empowered relationship with money? How do they feel about their finances? What are they able to do now that they couldn't before? Do they sleep better? Do they feel secure? Do they have the freedom to pursue passions? Hold on to that vision. Refer back to it when things get tough. Ask yourself, what would that future financial self do in this situation? Try living from that identity, even in small ways, for the next week. All right, we've journeyed through understanding where our money stories come from, how those sneaky scarcity thoughts try to derail us, and the transformative power of seeing money not as an enemy or a god, but as a tool, a force you can learn to direct. We saw how shifting our perspective, even slightly, opens up new possibilities. And we've touched on the simple truth that massive change is built on a foundation of tiny, consistent actions. So, let's bring it back to the core principle that ties it all together, the central theme of our time here today. Your financial reality is a direct reflection of your relationship with money. It's so much more than just the numbers on the screen. It's the story you tell yourself about those numbers, the feelings they evoke, and the actions, or tragically, the inactions, those feelings drive. It's the whispers in your mind when a bill arrives, the flutter in your stomach when you consider investing, the quiet dread when you avoid opening your banking app. What happens if you ignore this fundamental lesson? If you continue operating on autopilot, driven by old fears or inherited beliefs? If you avoid looking, hoping the problem will magically solve itself? Or perhaps worse, if you chase more income without changing that internal relationship? You stay exactly where you are, financially speaking, even as the numbers on your paycheck climb. the stress doesn't disappear. It scales right alongside your income. It's like trying to outrun your own shadow. It's always there. Lifestyle inflation becomes your unwelcome companion, ensuring you never feel truly secure, no matter how much you earn. Opportunities are missed because fear paralyzes you, whispering, "What if you fail?" You remain a passenger in your financial life, constantly reacting to external events, an unexpected bill, a market dip, a friend's success, instead of steering the ship with intention. That feeling of dread when you think about checking your balance, that becomes a permanent resident in your gut, a low hum of anxiety. You'll keep playing the numbers game, forever feeling like you're losing, even if the numbers temporarily go up, because the feeling hasn't changed. People often think the solution is purely mathematical: earn more, spend less. And while those are crucial actions, they're incredibly difficult to sustain if the underlying relationship is broken. It's like trying to force yourself to eat healthy while still believing vegetables are the enemy. The willpower eventually runs out. But here's the powerful truth, the one that shifts everything. You absolutely do not have to stay there. The first step to changing any relationship, whether with a person, a habit, or money, is acknowledging its current state without judgment and then deciding consciously to make a change. And by simply engaging with these ideas today, by thinking them through, you've already taken that critical first step. This isn't about piling on guilt or shame for past mistakes or missed opportunities. Let go of that baggage. This is about empowering yourself for the future. It's about recognizing, with incredible clarity, that you have the agency, the internal power, to rewrite your financial story. And the pen is in your hand, waiting. It starts by first rewriting your relationship with money. This isn't a magic bullet that makes debt vanish overnight or conjures investments out of thin air. It's the foundational shift, the fertile ground upon which all future financial success is built. Once your relationship with money is healthier, based on awareness instead of avoidance, intention instead of reaction, respect instead of dread, the practical steps we all know are important, budgeting, saving, investing, become intuitive, less painful, and far, far more effective. They stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like powerful actions towards building the life you truly want. You start making decisions about your money from a place of power and clarity, not fear and avoidance. It's a complete flip of the script. The core takeaway, the absolute heart of everything we've discussed: your relationship with money dictates your financial reality. Period. The consequences of ignoring this: you remain stuck in potentially lifelong cycles of stress, fear, and missed opportunity. And yes, this is true regardless of your income level. More money doesn't fix a broken relationship with money. Your clear, doable step today. This is where the rubber meets the road. Don't try to overhaul your entire financial life right now. Don't try to do everything we might have touched on. That's overwhelming, and overwhelm leads to inaction. Instead, choose one specific action from the previous sections, or even just from your own understanding. Something small, something manageable. Maybe it's opening your banking app for just 15 minutes to look at your balance. Maybe it's tracking your spending for just 3 days using a simple app or notebook. Maybe it's setting up a tiny auto transfer of $5 or $10 per week into a savings account you haven't touched. Or perhaps it's simply choosing one positive affirmation about money or your worth and saying it to yourself tonight. Just pick one thing. Commit to doing only that one thing, either today or tomorrow. That single, conscious step is you showing up differently in the relationship with money. It's a signal to yourself and to your finances that things are changing. That single step is where the earn flow zone truly begins for you. As we wrap up today's dive, take a moment. Just breathe. Recognize the power within you. You have the capacity to change this relationship, one small intentional step at a time. The journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up consistently and kindly for yourself and for your financial future. This shift in perspective, this conscious effort to heal your relationship with money, is the most valuable investment you can ever make. The practical steps follow, becoming easier and more effective as your internal world aligns with your external goals. It's a profound transformation, unfolding not in grand gestures, but in the quiet commitment to look, to understand, and to act with intention. Remember this, always. In the end, your bank account will catch up to your mindset, not the other way around.